information that they are providing the American people are flawed? What the fuck is going on here? Who's going to purchase this company? And why would we trust these corrupt social media empires in our own country? For those that don't know my position on this TikTok ban, I'm going to let you know. I think it's a bad idea.
I believe that this bill can cause future problems. It's opening Pandora's box, and I'm opposed to this bill.
I think they have done it as propaganda to put fear that China is going to know our information. Newsflash, they already have it. Let's talk about this whole entire conspiracy around them using our information to follow us.
There are dangers that lie ahead in this. This is really about controlling Americans' data. And if we cared about Americans' data, then we would stop the sale of Americans' data universally.
I've had more problems on American-based social media platforms than I have ever had on any foreign-based platform. And why are you picking only on TikTok? And why is it the Chinese that you're picking on? And if you are really picking on the Chinese Communist Party, why aren't you stopping them from purchasing our farmland, the food that we eat?
Most Americans don't trust the United States government because of our experience dealing with it. If we wanted to be serious about stopping a foreign adversary, if we wanted to be serious about stopping China, we would stop China from buying our U.S. farmland.
Interesting. And also, asking for a few million friends, about 170 million friends. Why aren't you doing anything about our American-based companies first?
I rise today as the only member of Congress that has ever been banned by social media. Twitter banned me, banned my personal account on which I was campaigning for Congress, raising money, and using my free speech to inform the voters in my district they can vote for me. This was not by a company owned by China. This was by American-owned Twitter.
Again, not sure what they're thinking. You know what I really truly believe it is? I believe it is the censorship of the United States that they are trying to lock down. Because whenever we have the United States owned companies, we are more censored in our freedoms of speech than we are from these foreign companies.
This came on the heels of our own United States government working with big tech and working with social media companies to censor and ban Americans' free speech.
Are we going to make Elon Musk sell Twitter when he restored many of our accounts that were censored by our American-based company?
By the way, it was Elon Musk's purchase of X that restored my social media account on Twitter.
So who's going to be purchasing this TikTok, this American-based TikTok, which is a bad idea, double-edged sword, slippery slope? How many other companies are we going to force to sell? I wonder. And if they're so concerned about our data, why aren't they preventing it from being sold universally? And again, asking for a few million friends. Somebody needs to do something, but it ain't banning TikTok. You know what it is? It's firing those damn politicians. If anybody doesn't know where I stand, I say no to the ban. And if the government is concerned about the Chinese Communist Party, getting information about them, maybe stay off TikTok, government. Just a thought. There is a lot of issues going on with this case that are now flooring detectives and the family. I've been monitoring the case of Sebastian Rogers. He's a boy that went missing in Tennessee. His mom has a message.
Love you so much, and we want you to come home, and you're not in trouble.
Search into the 15-year-old's disappearance has all failed. This is a boy that has autism. He's a high-functioning autistic individual, and the parents are coming under heavy fire right now because it is leading to believe that foul play is involved. But here is something that the stepfather had to say early on in the investigation.
Chris and Katie tell me they've been harassed, people pointing fingers at them.
You're not in this situation. You don't quite understand.
Many here in the public are just concerned about the well-being of Sebastian Rogers and would like to see him come home and come home safely. However, the boy has been missing for a significant amount of time, and now this particular case has led investigators to a landfill. Landfills appear to be the most promising place for parents to dump their children because this is not the first time. I was on scene at the Leilani case, and this was related to her 20-month-old son, Quentin Simon, which was found in a landfill. Leilani Simon is behind bars. Also, Elijah Vu. He has not been found yet. He's missing from Two Rivers, Wisconsin, and also the detectives and the investigators in this case have gone to the landfill and are currently doing a landfill search. Now that we know that foul play is perceived in this case, we're going to take a look at the parents' interview. Please stay tuned and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the Bullhorn Betty channel here on TikTok. Breaking news is coming out this morning about Elijah Vu.
In state of Wisconsin versus Katrina Bauer.
Prosecutors release new details about Elijah Vu, and these are going to be upsetting for everyone. Elijah Vu's mom, Katrina Bauer, and her boyfriend, Jesse Vang, their charges were just upgraded.
In court, a modified criminal complaint paints a bleak picture of events leading up to Elijah's disappearance.
Bail has been denied for both, and here's why.
The investigation detailed that Bauer and Vang both left 3-year-old Elijah and the 6-year-old alone, either at the apartment or an unheated car when the temperature reached 27 degrees.
It is alleged that law enforcement has evidence that the 3-year-old was unattended for at least an hour on February 16th. And Katrina and her boyfriend, Jesse Vang, traveled to other locations throughout the county.
According to the documents, Katrina's partner, Jesse Vang, had been caring for Elijah to, quote, correct victims' bad behaviors, where Elijah was threatened with cold water and forced to stand for hours at a time.
They have evidence that Bauer also left her 6-year-old child unattended in a vehicle on February 14th for about
A Kingsport mother is still missing. Leela Santanello has been missing since June 27, 2023. Witnesses state that she ran from the AmeriCorps Hotel the day before. My friend Chronicles of Olivia and I, we have been here several times searching for Leela Santanello, which bring us to places like this abandoned golf course facility. Many places like this exist across Kingsport, Tennessee, making it very difficult to find where Leila's whereabouts could be. It's places like this that keep us concerned. Where could Leela Santanello be? Is she out there somewhere? The details Chronicles of Olivia and I have found out are highly disturbing, and I can tell you, based on the information we've heard and learned, someone knows something. Where is Leela Santanello? Will anyone come forward? Will anybody be willing to tell the truth? Will anyone stand up and help the Santanello family?
From the East Coast to the West Coast, we are everywhere true crime is. We are asking for the public's help. We are searching in the woods. We are doing what it takes here on the Bullhorn Betty channels to find answers to the most alarming cases we have been watching on the news. I can tell you personally that I have traveled this entire country seeking these answers and bringing that content right here to you here on the Bullhorn Betty channels and Bullhorn Betty Crime Stories. We are happy with the work that we've done. We've brought many answers to the public, and we have defied mainstream media in our pursuit of the truth in these cases. We will continue to work. We will continue to fight for these victims, and we will continue to tell their stories here on my channels. Welcome to the Bullhorn Betty brand of channels and the Coffee Club. Thank you for your love. Thank you for your support. And more importantly, thank you for allowing me to bring these victims' stories to each and every one of you, advocating for each of these victims. God bless you. God bless America, and more importantly, God bless our victims. Well, good morning, my beautiful coffee beans on YouTube and X. It's nice to see you. I didn't realize, I guess I didn't realize my avocation video was 4 minutes long. I don't know why I wasn't thinking it was 4 minutes long. It threw my time off just a little bit. I'm actually shortening the time of our intro coming in. You wouldn't know it by this morning, but I am going to run that 4-minute clip probably every morning. So if you guys are here and you don't want to hear it every morning, you might want to wait a few minutes. That's how I advocate. So anyways, guys, I'm not going to get too much into the TikTok ban. It's more because this is a larger platform. I'm running it on several channels, and it's just easier for me to advocate across multiple platforms all at one time. So that's why we did it. However, we've got a lot of cases we've neglected. We've got a lot of updates on cases that we're currently covering. And we're just going to try to provide some information because, there's a lot of cases when they start hitting, they hit hard, and we're just diving into case after case after case. And then there's a little reprieve, and and during that reprieve is when we get caught up on all the other cases that we've been covering and monitoring and following and whatnot. And so that's just what we are going to be doing, because our top cases right now are obviously Madeline Soto, Elijah Vu, and Sebastian. Now we do have a young boy that's in Nashville. I haven't gotten information. I know several people reached out to me to cover that case. And look, I don't mind covering cases, and I don't mind, advocating even if for a short segment on the live, guys. But it's hard for me to stop everything I'm doing and start researching another case. So when you're sending me a case, if you know details about the case, don't just type, can you check on this case? Provide me some details of that case so it's less research that I have to do, because if there's a case that's going on and I don't have time to look into it, we're not covering it. And right now we have many cases, and some that are involving children that are still missing. And obviously those young children like Elijah Vu, I'm going to be advocating for, because I know his story, I know his information, and but if you guys want me to cover another case, send me some link articles, put some information, just put some little detail back there so I can get a gist of it. So if I can only talk about it for 5 minutes, I can throw it up here, talk about it, and at least advocate it on this platform and other platforms. But that would really, really help me. Thank you. Let me get over there right now and do that. But just don't forget that I do my best, but it's only me. I don't have a team of researchers. We do the best we can as a team, but my mods work. My mods run other businesses, and there we go. Hold on just a second. I'm glad you texted me. Okay. Oh, I'm not wanting to put you in timeout. There we go. All right. There you go, Karen. I think we're good. But anyways, where was I getting back to? But, we just have a lot of stuff going on. And so when you ask me to cover a case, I'm happy to do, but it really does help me get on the case quicker if I have some background. If I literally have one name on here and I've got I've got 15 cases I'm searching, I'm not going to stop what I'm doing and read the whole entire case. But you give me some bullet points on there and get me intrigued, then yeah, I'll do a little bit of due diligence before I run the story or something like that. But it just helps me. So if you guys want me to run the stories, it's great. Just give me a little bit of information, just something I don't have to think about, right? I don't have to think about. Good morning, Jules. Jules has been following me around. I love it. She was on with me at TikTok. You guys don't know, we're running on a lot of different platforms. We're diversifying the Bullhorn Betty brand to a multitude of platforms. And, I was birthed on TikTok because that's where Olivia was. And I met Olivia in front of Gabby Petito. So naturally, I went with the path of least resistance. I didn't know what I was doing on social media. She brought me to TikTok, and We built a pretty good following over there on TikTok, and then they just limited us on our videos. And the limitations were 3 minutes at the time. We now have the ability to make 10-minute videos over on TikTok, but 3 minutes was just too short for all the information that we needed to provide on these cases. I mean, it's nice for little tidbits of stuff, but not as involved as we get over here on YouTube. So I converted over here to YouTube very quickly. And we ended up getting a great following over here. So if you guys want, I do run lives on other platforms. If you don't know, now you do. Now you do. I've got a political platform here, Facebook and TikTok, as well as true crime here, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, and a whole multitude of other places. We're running live right now on Twitter as well. So it's if you guys are interested or you are on other platforms, don't forget to sub me up. Crafty Chris, it's nice to see you. Guidance, Unicorn 1 Indiana. Hey, Love Bug, it's nice to see you, my love. Princess, it's me, Jen. It's nice to see you here this morning. Old Rusty Kettle is up in the house. It's nice to see you, Bayou Babe. Nael, Skittles from New Zealand all the way. It's already Friday for her. She's like already in TGIF while we're still stuck back here in Thursday. Like I'm jealous. Skittles, give me the the go gadget car. What is that? No, that goes back in time. I don't want to go back in time. I want to go forward, kind of, sort of. I should think about what I'm wishing for, right? As you get older, you don't want to get any older. Maybe I do need the DeLorean. After all. Alabama Mama 4, it's nice to see you. Good morning. Good morning. The Real Me Too is up in the house. 3 flying doves. Good morning, my love. It's nice to see you. What else do we have? Who else do we have up in the house? Ronnie, it's nice to see you, my love. Hope you're doing well. Sonia, our beautiful Sonia. I'm not wearing one of her designs yesterday or today, but I was yesterday and the day before, and probably will tomorrow. If you haven't spoke to her, get some custom stuff, guys. She did some stuff. I want to show you, and I will show you, but she did some custom stuff. It all matched. Like I got a little tote with a matching shirt with a hat. It's really cute, right? So like literally reach out to Sonia. If you have any type of smart aleck comment that you like to make, have it put on a shirt, have it put on a cup. Hell, put it on a coffee cup, a koozie cup. And she even gave me a band. I'm now part of the Bullhorn Betty search team. Who knew? It's official. It's official. I'm truly a part of the search team now. Oh, thank you. God bless you being one of the newest members. I don't know which, it's not telling me which channel you're on though. Which channel you became a member on. We're on several of them. Who else we got? Jazzy, it's nice to see you. Good morning, my love. Lady 7 Up is up in the house. It's nice to see you guys. Kathy B, it's nice to see you. Lockwood, good morning. Good morning. Who else do we have? Stephanie, it's nice to see you, my love. I think we got everybody. If I missed you by mistake, hi. Welcome. It's almost Friday, so I'm asleep at the wheel. No, I'm just joking. It's called getting up way entirely too early and not having enough coffee. This is literally my second cup of coffee, and if you know, by 9 o'clock in the morning, I should have a whole pot in me. I don't. So let's go ahead and get started. First, I'm just going to bring up a video. Excuse me. I'm going to bring up a video about the Murdaugh. I know we watched it yesterday. I ran live with it yesterday. Don't forget, the only rule of the chat is don't be a Richard. So please, you can say what you mean what you say, but you don't have to say it mean. There we do talk about a lot of sensitive topics here that cause people to have emotional responses. And while we understand the emotional responses, there are no right or wrong answers here. So everybody's entitled to their opinion. And you may or may not like my opinion, right? You may disagree with it wholly. It doesn't give you the right to be nasty to people, okay? If you want people to respect your opinion, you respect other people's opinions. If you have some disagreements, debate the issues, not the people. So that's just really the rules of the game. And here we go. People told me that there was no headstone after all this time for Paul and Maggie. My efforts to try to get Maggie and Paul headstones has worked. I even did a video on it that went viral about this very thing.
This is an embarrassment. That says Murdaugh on it. Where the hell are the Murdaugh family? Why? With all the wealth and money you have, is this acceptable? They deserve a headstone.
It's great to report that they now have proper headstones honoring each of them. I've been following the Murdaugh trial from the beginning and was present at the trial. Alec was ultimately found guilty of 2 counts of homicide in the death of his wife, Maggie, and his son, Paul. Sometimes I feel social media gets a bad name, but situations like this where we affected change that I'm very proud of. God bless you. So that was really the update on Alec Murdaugh. We really, I've been following that for some time. And every time I went out there, I kept checking because, I didn't think the headstones took 3 years. Nobody in their right mind believes that, especially with the Murdaugh money and the Murdaugh name. Those things would be done lickety split. So I kept waiting, kept going by, nothing. And so finally I decided to release the video early on. And I think I released it on one of my YouTube channels, I want to say about a month before, and it didn't really get, I think it only got a few thousand views on YouTube. And I was like, this is really important. And so I revamped the video and stuck it on TikTok. And it just went viral. And people were, they had mixed emotions from trying to, come up with a million excuses as to why it takes 2.5 years to get a headstone, which is ludicrous. Okay. Even in delayed times, it doesn't take that long. I mean, anybody that says that, if you have a specialty item or financial issues or things of that nature, or you just can't pay your final payment to get it delivered, or you can't pay that, those things obviously take time and delay people. I'm not talking about those people that have financial constraints and, takes a little time to, like, for example, Stephen Smith's mom, she was broke. She couldn't afford to put a headstone on her son's grave. That is understandable. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the fact that Alec's dad died 3 days after Paul and Maggie. And he was honored to have his name on a stone and it chiseled in. Yet the 2 that were senselessly gunned down, murdered in cold blood, years later, didn't have a headstone. And people were, there was only a small little echo chamber of people that, could care less. Right? Even when I put out that video this morning, there was, or I think maybe it was last night when I found out. It was last night. When I put out the video last night, some of the comments was, I hope they rest in hell. There are a lot of people that are very angry with the Murdaughs over, Mallory Beach. And I understand that. Paul was driving a boat. He should not have been driving in the condition he was driving, but it was still a boating accident. He didn't intentionally go and off this girl, unalive this girl. He didn't intentionally do it. As a matter of fact, it was one of his friends. He liked her. He made a stupid decision that cost one of his friends her life. And it ultimately cost him his life because his dad had to cover up his financial crimes. And the only way he could garner sympathy was to gun down his wife and son. And then the family didn't even bother putting, and I love the comment the most about how her mom and dad should put one up. That was classic. I about came unglued on that person. Like, how dare you think that the mother of this is still her child, no matter how old she gets, should have to put a tombstone, purchase a tombstone for her daughter that should not be dead by a man that should not have killed her own husband. And then to have that same man come in there and, be in their face and hang out with them and go to, go on a mini vacation and spend time with them, with their son, while all the while knowing what he did to their own daughter and grandson. No, they should never have been responsible. Her name was a Murdaugh. And a Murdaugh is the one that took her out. A Murdaugh should be the one that puts those stones up. And it sounds like they did. So we're going to get on with Elijah Vu. I think I already played this at the beginning. I'll stop it if I did. I can't remember if this is the one I played.
Breaking news is coming out this morning about Elijah Vu.
In state of Wisconsin.
Yeah, this is the one I already played this morning. So I'll just go ahead and get on to the updates of Elijah's case. So he's obviously still missing. Let's just listen to the briefing. Please let me know that you guys
Thank you all
can
for being
hear
here this evening. My name is
We've been
Ben
having
Miner,
audio issues here lately.
BenMeInnert. I'm the chief of the Two Rivers Police Department. A child missing for any amount of time is everyone's worst nightmare. That's why we're here today. Elijah, a 3-year-old boy, has been missing now for a week today.
Thank you, Lockwood.
For the past week, we've utilized hundreds of resources, worked around the clock in our attempts to bring Elijah home. Right now, I'd like to bring everybody just up to speed with our search for Elijah and how that went. Elijah was reported a week ago today, like I said, around 11 a.m. in the 3900 block of Mishicot Road here in Two Rivers. Everyone searched for Elijah on that day. And I mean everyone. Our police department, first responders responded out. It's not necessarily an unusual incident to have a missing child. Usually we find them right away. Nearly immediately we realized.
I want to let you know. Did you hear what he said? They usually find them right away. This is not an uncommon occurrence. And this is what people don't understand. This is not an uncommon occurrence in any community. Children get out of their homes. Children hide in their homes. They run away. There's a multitude of reasons, but the bottom line is this is something that happens regularly, whether we know it or not, because when you call a missing kid in, typically law enforcement goes out there. They don't automatically start, sounding the alarm bells. I mean, just within a few minutes, they do take some initiative to try to locate that child. And typically they're able to locate that child fairly quickly. Why? Because they radio in now. Instead of, even though this guy's sitting at your house, you got 15 other patrolmen running around the neighborhood looking for a child. And even if it's more involved where woods and stuff like that happen, we've watched those. There was a boy that walked his dog in the woods, I want to say like 9 or 10 months after Summer Wells went missing. And it was a really scary situation because the little boy, he never made it home that night. They could not find him after hours and hours of searching those woods. But he was found after he was out in the woods all night long in ridiculously cold weather. That was a major concern for the family and law enforcement, was how cold it was. The dog had made it back home. The boy had not. It was a scary situation. But the next day they went out and they found that boy. Now, granted, he was a little dehydrated, obviously very cold, but healthy. And they were able to find this child. If a child or someone else just walks away or disappears, they're not jogging a marathon here. They're walking and stopping and looking, especially a child. You don't just see a child just keep going. At some point they stop and look around and like, where am I? They get terrified once they realize they don't know where they're at and they don't see anybody they know. So they may sit there for a half hour and just cry. So this idea that children are just, these athletes that can get up, do a mile every 15 minutes is not realistic. Yes, dehydration can kill quickly. That's why it was unnerving. But I think their major concern at that time was the hypothermia. So seeing him a little dehydrated and cold was welcoming news. The bottom line is they found this boy in the woods, And it was right on the heels of everybody saying, well, if she's in the woods, she's gone. Well, no, they find people in the woods all the time. They find kids in the woods. I won't want to say all the time, but it depends on where you live, you know. But let's get back to this. But I just wanted to point that out. You know, this is what people don't understand. You know, they deal with children missing, and they're able to find children very quickly, and teenagers for that matter too.
That we needed more resources. Every officer, including myself, was out searching that day for Elijah. When we needed more help, we reached out to the fire department and our Department of Public Works. Soon after that, we got some information stating that Elijah may have gone missing at 8 a.m. When we received that information, my assistant chief, Melissa Wiesner.
So you guys see that right up front, the story changed because it sounds like the mom or Jesse Vang, I don't know who called law enforcement, called them later in the day. So even though they reported him missing, when we finally got it, it was 8 a.m. But behind the scenes, they must have called much later for them to think that it wasn't at 8 a.m., for them to be surprised. He seemed surprised to me.
She's a former lead investigator, and she's worked many child cases. I entrusted her, and I knew she had the wherewithal to reach out immediately to places like A Child is Missing, our National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. She put out numerous alerts, including missing and endangered alerts, Ring neighborhood alerts, and local emergency alerts. That included an Amber Alert. I know there's been some question about an Amber Alert on that day and why. This child was 3 years old and was reported missing on a cold winter temperature day with only a blanket and possibly light clothing. And we knew at that time, possibly 3 to 4 hours. I define that as endangered.
And I have to agree. I don't know who, and why would anybody be complaining about why the Amber Alert system is used? That to me, I don't know who that is, but you are an asshole. Okay, let me repeat that here on the Bullhorn Betty channel for all the people in the back to hear. If you are calling law enforcement demanding answers as to why they chose to use an Amber Alert system for a 3-year-old missing boy, you, my friend, are an asshole. I know mainstream media is not allowed to use those words on their programming, but Bullhorn Betty is allowed to use them on my program. If you don't like it and it offends you, I apologize. But guess what? At the end of the day, whoever made those calls is an asshole. FYI. And if you don't know what I meant by asshole, if you made that call, go look in the mirror.
I immediately reached out with the assistance of my staff to the Division of Criminal Investigation. This is not about me. This has always been about bringing Elijah home, and quickly. They led that investigation into his whereabouts with the support of our FBI. We also utilized almost any boat, UTV, drone, canine, and even National Guard helicopters to search for Elijah. Unfortunately, Elijah wasn't found.
It's good to see you, my love.
Following that day, we had a press conference. I know people were frustrated with that. I too was frustrated with that. We had a lot of misinformation going around on Facebook, through social media, and just in general. We felt it necessary that we had to lay out factual information of the case and bring everybody up to date to that.
And here's an issue. You know, I've been monitoring this case, but, you know, I do a lot of different types of searches, okay? I don't know how other people do their searches, but I don't just go to one source for searches. I have multitude of places I go to research any type of topic, fact. You know, there's extensions on Google that help research easier. But the bottom line is when it comes to this case, you know, well, I know we have, like, I I don't want to throw anybody under the bus or anything like that, especially somebody that I actually like. But I even noticed that some of the people that I used to watch, say for Idaho 4 information, I've been watching like on the Madeline Soto, they're going into conspiracy theorists. And I'm just like, what is going on? Why can't people just, why do they have to go clickbaity? I mean, we do clickbait stuff here. I mean, don't get me wrong. We say, you know, new details emerging, or, you know, something like that. But we very rarely, I mean, unless it's just incorrect information that I receive, you know, I don't intentionally deceive my my audience ever. You know, have I been trolled? Yes. Of course, everybody knows I've been trolled ridiculously, where people are, if they know I'm not in an area, they're sending me false information. Just, you know, you got to really do a lot of stuff. So that has happened to me in the past. Okay. But in the intent being there, do I intentionally go out here to mislead or put stuff that's I know is categorically untrue in my audience head? Absolutely not. And so I was very disappointed when I plugged in. This one creator, I think, had like 1,100 people. I saw the title and I'm like, what? Is this possible? So I pop in there and I'm listening to it for like 5. I had to leave. I'm like, this is so filled with bullshit. It's unbelievable. 1,100 people are inside of that chat room getting this whole bunch of bullshit. And those 1,100 people are going to go out into the world and into all of our chats and say, well, I heard this and I heard that. And they're like, oh, you did? Where did you hear it? I heard it from this. And they're going to say, oh, well, I know them from the Idaho 4. They did a great coverage on it. It must be true. It's just, so there is misinformation, but long story short is, or long story longer, however you would like to look at it, I didn't really see a whole lot of misinformation being guided in the Elijah Vu case so far. So when I heard him say this, it kind of took me back a little bit. I mean, is there some? I'm sure there is. I'm absolutely sure there is. Maybe they're calling misinformation by information that we've received, you know, maybe the stuff that they don't want released yet, like the hit on the trash receptacle, you know, there are some, but saying it's misinformation is not accurate. I mean, we've got enough corroboration from people that actually watched, seen, and saw and heard to say that hit was absolutely 100% correct. There was a hit on a trash receptacle. I'm not going to go where or when. I don't know what I'm allowed to share, what I'm not allowed to share. So I try to keep, as much information that I don't personally find myself out of the limelight, because it's not my information. But still, I'm a little confused about this, because I haven't seen people go into the wild conspiracy theories, unless I'm just missing them, because I'm not on here going to places I know are not good and legitimate sources of information. So I might just be missing a whole mess of people misinforming the audience. But in this particular case, I haven't really seen, like, I see a lot of it in the Maddie Soto case. You know, mom's under investigation. Well, no shit, she was under investigation the minute that child was reported missing. So this idea that she's not under investigation is crazy. The other thing of everybody coming out and in their title, Maddie pregnant or something like that, where they're discussing about the possibility of Maddie being pregnant, and then they start looking at baby, her belly and stuff like that. It just gets all crazy. I just can't go down that. Not when it comes to these kids and talking about the graphic nature of what this child went through, and then we're going to be misrepresenting information all over the place. I just think it's not good practice, but I digress. To each their own. But I do wish that some people, instead of worrying about what I'm saying over here, maybe worry about what their friends are saying over there, because let's face it, they are all friends, right? So they can misinform and be conspiracy theorists, and the hate channels are just fine with them, but just as long as it's not over here, which we don't even do. We speculate, but we don't get into the conspiracy theories. So let's get back to that. I don't see it. Maybe it's more widespread in this case than I realize, but I have not seen a whole host of misinformation in this case.
That point. We also established a tip line and got that out to the public at that time. That has been beneficial and crucial to this investigation and search. Since the conference, I have personally provided media releases daily, if not multiple times during the day, to bring our public up to date and remain transparent.
And one thing I can say about this police chief is we already know that this is a criminal investigation. And in cases like this, when they move from a missing person into a criminal investigation, we hear a lot of law enforcement kicking us out of the investigation. They no longer want the public searching. They no longer want the public looking. They want everybody just to leave it alone, get out of the area, get out of the neighborhood, just let them handle it. But in this particular situation, this police chief is at odds. He's trying to bring this child. I don't think at this point anybody believes this child is living. I know people get very upset with me by saying those things on this, but we're a realistic channel, not a PC channel. And in reality, the bottom line is this is a 3-year-old child that was seen alive on the 16th and has not been seen alive on camera since the 16th of February. We're learning from this new affidavit that he was reported left in a car in sub-freezing temperatures for hours, multiple hours. And he was never seen after the 16th. We saw him on camera between 2:30 and 3:30. And by that evening, he was being left in a cold car for hours on end. So, I don't think the selling aspect is boding with the facts of the case, based upon the fact that they're still looking for this child, and they're looking for this child in the water. They're looking for this child in the wilderness. The idea that this child walked away and stuff, it's not. They believe that this is foul play. I think they've given us all indicators that this is a criminal investigation, and this officer is still welcoming of anybody that's willing to pitch in to help search. He hasn't pushed the public out at all. And I think it's not because I think at the end of the day, his top priority is finding Elijah Vu. His criminal investigation, even though he has to keep the integrity of it, I think the number one aspect of his role is finding Elijah. And that should be all of it, right? The most important is finding the child. The second part of that is the investigation, in my opinion, when you have a missing person. Now, when the child is deceased, which, this is where I kind of have a little back and forth on, is, at that point, it's a criminal investigation. And at that point, people, especially if they find this child and this child is deceased, anybody that's walked in that area has now contaminated that crime scene. So you have those issues that you have to weigh, that any law enforcement chief or sheriff has to weigh on whether they want to continue the involvement of the community. But I think in this particular matter, he's realizing that the help in clearing the areas are more important right now than kicking everybody out of the investigation. It sounds like they're working well with the volunteer searchers. If they weren't, then they would be pushing them out. So it sounds like that the volunteer searchers are taking instructions and following the instructions from law enforcement and doing what they're supposed to be doing at this stage of the game, because they are working so well with law enforcement. So that's always good. But I did want to say that he really is trying his hardest, to the point that we are in a criminal investigation and he's still asking for volunteers. That is huge. He doesn't know where this boy is. He needs all the help he can get. So if you're in the Wisconsin area, there is many pages that keep us up to date with Elijah Vu and Elijah Vu's search efforts. So if you would like to participate or donate your time to some search efforts for a few hours, please go out there, help the family clear some areas, help law enforcement clear some areas. And always remember, when you're out there and you come across somebody, a local or anything, stop and ask them if they know anything. Maybe they don't even realize they know anything. Did anything weird or unusual happen that day? Some of the most simplest questions have the most impactful responses. So we want to find out if there was anything, because really, I think it was did anything unusual happen that day is what solved Maddie's case, because that's when people said, well, we did see a guy on the side of the road changing a tire, in a weird area. We passed a guy, it might have been. Who knows? Who knows? We don't know, but who knows?
Those leads, those investigations, everything we've taken as tips have led to searching our neighborhoods, searching all our waterways, aerial and foot canvases, both urban and rural, throughout Manitowoc County and even beyond. We've searched Wisconsin landfills and quarries, and we've even had additional leads in Wisconsin dells.
They searched the landfills too. Some people say that, but you know what? It's sad to say, but with the amount of time that they had before this child was reported missing, I think if he is in the landfill, that's the reason why he's not being found.
In addition to all those search efforts, I am aware of other investigations taking place. I can confirm Elijah's mother, Katrina Bauer, is in jail on charges of child neglect and obstructing. Katrina's boyfriend, Jesse Vang, is in jail on charges of child neglect. And I do know that Elijah's father has also been incarcerated at Oshkosh Correctional Institute in unrelated matters since 2023. I also understand that the public would like more information on those first two individuals I mentioned. However, I'm unable to discuss those matters because it is an ongoing investigation, and I don't want to jeopardize those cases.
So he's talking about the abuse cases that they're currently incarcerated for. Now their bonds are fairly low, but it's my understanding in Wisconsin there's not bail bonds. So if you have a $15,000 bond, you have to proffer $15,000. So it's keeping them in there. And from my understanding, Bauer has a $15,000 bond and Jesse has a $20,000 bond. And clearly they're unable to come up with that money to bond themselves out. So in the last hearing, there was no bond. The judge has acknowledged he's not planning on reducing or increasing the bond at this moment. He's just keeping the status quo.
I want to thank the various local, state, federal agencies, as well as all our fire and EMS, and even those private resources that have helped along the way. Thank you to everyone in the community. They provided food and drinks towards all these efforts. And thanks to all those private search efforts.
So I'm going to kind of pause it right there so we can get back. Hold on, let me get back to the actual article itself. So the bottom line is Elijah Vu, he's 3 years old. We're rounding, he's been gone for well over 2 weeks. We're rounding our third week to almost a month. Oh, what am I doing here? Sorry, guys. Third week to a month of, this search for him. Oh, Miss Robin, God bless you. Bullhorn Betty memberships. Miss Robin gifted Bullhorn Betty memberships. If you guys don't know, I'm putting the crime stories on members only for just the members if they just want to chat amongst themselves to do. And we've been having it open to our subscribers on the main channel. That's going to be changing soon. But we just want to try to get everybody back over to the main channel. That's kind of the key of this game. But we are going to be running on this channel doing other stuff to keep the audience and the subscribers continuing to grow on this particular channel as well. But pretty soon we are going to be on the main channel and not be running on the Crime Stories channel for our breaking news like we're doing today right now for our coffee club. Our coffee club is going to be on our coffee club channel. So just to forewarn everybody. So if you received your Bullhorn Betty gifted membership, please tell Miss Robin thank you. And God bless you guys. God bless you guys. Welcome to all the new members. Yes, thank you, Miss Robin. Thank you for your love and support as always. So, you know, this little boy is missing. We need to try to help find him. They have search parties. You can hear in law enforcement due to the criminal investigation. I mean, this is a criminal investigation. This is no longer a missing boy. There's enough evidence to lead to believe that this child, bad things happen to this child. Not as bad like Maddie bad, but bad enough where he's most likely not here anymore. And again, I know it upsets people for me to say that because you're taking away hope and stuff like that. Listen, we're a realistic channel here. And I'm not going to deceive my audience to pander to somebody's feelings. I'm just not going to do it. The bottom line is this child has been missing for a significant number of days. He cannot feed and clothe himself. He cannot bathe himself. He cannot cook for himself. Okay, if I need to explain that to people, I'm sorry. This child, it doesn't sound like law enforcement thinks this child is breathing. Okay, it's not me. It's not that I want this child not to be here. Look at his beautiful face. I didn't do this to him. If people are angry, they need to be angry at Katrina and Jesse. That's who they need to, you know, put their anger and their efforts toward. So getting on to, and I think I've already played this one at the beginning of our intro into this. It's about Sebastian Rogers. Sebastian Rogers is an autistic 15-year-old boy that allegedly walked out of his house. I don't believe it. There's too much information about the stepfather and his violent outbursts. And I think something bad happened to this 15-year-old boy. And I think something bad happened to this 15-year-old boy at the hands of his stepfather. And I think his mother knows. I think his mother is acutely aware of what her husband is capable of doing. I think she's lived through it. I think she has dealt with it. I think she is probably a battered wife. It looks like he makes money. So, you know, people think that because you have a good looking home, a clean home, that shit doesn't go on behind those closed doors, and it does. So I do believe that something bad happened to this kid. I looked at an interview from the biological father, and he was very adamant that this child would not have left without shoes and socks. And he even gave an explanation as to why this boy will not go outside without shoes and socks. He does not like dirt or sand between his toes because he ended up stepping on an ant pile thinking it was just dirt. And now he will not leave anywhere without shoes and socks because he doesn't like dirt on his feet, because he equates dirt on his feet to ant bites, right? That's how autistic kids work. And so now every time he sees dirt, he thinks that it's ants. So he doesn't like wearing or does not leave the house without the shoes. So this is a key factor to me. And what is up with the flashlight? Why is the flashlight missing? I think the flashlight is missing because it was used when he was used, and they could not bring it back to the house because of whatever evidence it may have on it. And that would explain the flashlight, which also may explain the time of day or night he went missing. I don't see a 15-year-old boy that doesn't go anywhere without his parents waking up in the middle of the night and leaving without his parents. It doesn't make sense. So there's a lot going on with this particular matter. And then lastly, we're going to go through, I think, just a couple things, and I'm going to open up the phone lines if you guys have anything you would like to say, because I just want to see if there is anything. And you can talk about anything that is on our topic of discussion that we've discussed today, or another case. If you want to advocate for a missing person, please come up and tell some details of the missing person's case, and we'll throw their face up on the channel. Good Lord. Let me refresh. Can you guys hear that? Nope. It's, hold on. I don't know why it does that. When I go to another YouTube, when I run one YouTube, it kills all the rest. I don't get it.
This community has been rocked.
Let me just keep working at it. Lordy, lordy, lordy. I don't know why it does that, but it does. It's getting irritating though. Why is one YouTube channel working but the other one is not? Does not make any sense. I don't know. Mute screen? No, we don't want to mute screen. It's got audio. Let's see if it works. I don't know.
To its core.
Do not let their lives be defined by how they died, but instead remember them for the joy they spread and the fun times they shared while they lived.
While we were at the memorial last night for the foreign slain victims, again, this happened on November 13th, 2022, where 4 University of Idaho students were slain in their home just off campus while they slept.
We don't know how long this investigation will take, and we don't know the why behind this horrific act.
We were getting reports that this was a targeted attack and very personal. This is one of the spots that law enforcement was telling was a key place of interest for people to be looking out and finding out whether or not people had videography, photos, any kind of incidences, evidence of any sort at this location. It has now made more people feel unsafe and fear this community because a person still hasn't been brought to justice for this gruesome attack on these beautiful souls that attended the University of Idaho. I'm here at the Moscow Police Department. We are looking for other information here, primarily some of the activities that went on in that house. We're also checking for the Sigma Chi fraternity house. We want to know what was going on over there. This is the Sigma Chi, the back of the Sigma Chi fraternity house. It is the largest fraternity house on that road. Right? And you're right there. I'm outside of Washington State University right now. Why in the world would I be out at Washington State University? It's because this is another college, another university that is in close proximity to the University of Idaho. One of the things that screamed out to me is a lot of people are believing that this person is a college-age student. This is just one of those things where we're just saying, is it possible? Yeah, it is possible.
There we go. So that's kind of where we're at with Brian Kohberger. And so the update on Brian Kohberger's case is that you remember Ann C. Taylor has been fighting the indictment for some time. She's brought forth 2 different motions to tank the indictment, to release her client, and Judge John C. Judge has denied both of those. And so she was challenging it up to the Idaho Supreme Court, and the Idaho Supreme Court has denied their request for them to hear that case. So as far as throwing the indictment out at this point, it appears to be dead in the water. It doesn't appear they're going to get any movement. It doesn't appear that the Idaho Supreme Court is going to take on the matter. So we're moving forward. I think the Supreme Court has backed John C. Judge's ruling in part by the failure of them picking the case up or it having enough merits that they're willing to entertain listening to it. So the indictment, from what I'm gathering here, it's going to stand. It's not going anywhere. So I would never be able to go back to school there if I was a student there. Peter, I get it. You know, the PTSD of it. But in all fairness, children are more resilient. And if they don't physically see it, it's almost like out of sight, out of mind. And yeah, they may know that it happened on their campus, but I guarantee when they came back, the whole new school, they're back to living life probably fairly normally at this point, whether or not that house stood up. Why the university insisted on that house being removed, I think, was self-serving purposes and self-serving purposes only. And I just want to remind all universities across this country, you are federally financed. That means our taxpayer money goes to it. And when you thwart the will of the people, it gives us a bad taste in the mouth, because that university may not be existing or existing at the rate it is existing without the federal government's assistance, which means all of us. And I can tell you there was more of us arguing against the destruction of that house than there were for it. So definitely still don't agree. Hey, Lulu, it's nice to see you. Still definitely do not agree at all with their decision to demolish the house. So this kind of comes into our realm. Hold on, let me get this moved over. Hold on just 1 second. Let me refresh this one. Let me take it off. Don't start calling in just yet. Let me take this off and put it back on. We don't want any audio issues, right? We don't want any audio issues. We want issues to stop. I think it's a glitch. I think they did, honestly, I really do. I think StreamYard made some modifications on the back side of their system, and they haven't realized that they've created another problem on this side of the system, because I've got no equipment running, no nothing. Like, there's no reason why I should be having any issues, especially with YouTube, when I can play a YouTube video 1 minute and go to the next one and not be able to play it. They're all on the same channel. I'm not pulling them from different places. They're all coming from the same place. So it's not making sense. So I have to think it's a glitch with StreamYard. Either way, guys, the phone lines are open. If you do want to call in and speak about any number of the cases, I know there's a lot of people that have information on new cases. You're more than welcome to advocate for different cases on this platform if you so choose. I will tell you, I'm going to be doing and dropping more videos on TikTok. I've been trying to bring some of those videos over here. Oh, yes, Jules, I did. I just got it. Just to answer your question. I saw it there, but I didn't check my phone. I just checked it. And yes, I did receive your email. I'll check it and get back to you. What else did I have? Oh, and I have a whole mess, and I mean a whole mess of other cases, and they are very, very, very disturbing cases. I'm just going to go through them just ever so slightly. A man accused of holding teenage hostage in California and forcing her to do, you know what, with him. And she escaped. He literally held her. She was 17 years old. Let me just read this. Deputies arrested 26-year-old man after he allegedly abducted a teen and held the juvenile for days and forced her to have, you know what, with him. On March 7th, and this was just recent because it's only the 14th, so it's just in this last week, deputies at Big Bear Lake Sheriff Station responded to 40700 block of Village Drive. After a 17-year-old female had escaped a locked car while the man was at work. He was literally locking her in the car to keep her under control. Deputies allege on March 1st around 8 p.m. The male, his name's Zachary, picked up the juvenile and drove her to his house. I'm a little hazy on why he picked her up to begin with. He reportedly requested S from her, and she refused. And then he allegedly held the teen hostage in his home for almost a week. The details of this is horrific. According to deputies, he wouldn't allow the victim to leave and forced her to consume large amounts of alcohol. So he was trying to keep her under control. That's one case. This is another disturbing case. This is out of Savannah, Georgia, and I don't know how we did not hear this case. It's about two men that were indicted on federal grand jury for allegedly bombing a woman's house. And they literally took pythons and put in the house to kill her baby. Like the crap that's going on, and this is in Savannah, Georgia. Her house exploded. Well, most of the damage was at the garage. She was supposed to be moving in with her young child, and they hadn't had their stuff moved in, so they just happened not to be there. But they had received ownership just the day before, and obviously there must have been a relationship with the woman and one of the guys, because two people are arrested and they were both men. And they didn't tell us in this article which man or what the relationship was from one man to the other. But yes, they put a device in her home that blew up her garage, basically. And they were sticking pythons in her house to harm her child. Yeah. It's sick. It's sick. According to the statement, between December 2022 and January 2023, Kinsey Ann Glosser allegedly surveyed the victim with the intent to kill, injure, harass, or intimidate, and in possession and used a destructive product. The plan allegedly including shooting arrows through the victim's front door, buying and freeing a large python into the victim's home to eat the victim's daughter, sending dead rats and animal feces in the mail, scalping her, and bombing her home. Like, this is what we are facing here in America from disgruntled people. You can't just get pissed off at people anymore. People have lost all common sense. And you wonder why. Why are people losing all common sense? Maybe it's because we've got people saying it's okay, right? And well, nobody said it's okay. Really? They didn't? They didn't say it's okay when we had police stations being burned down and news reporters were out there as cars are rolling behind them, burning, saying, oh, it's a peaceful protest? You don't think that empowers people or puts a dangerous thought in their mind that they may act out later? We're planting seeds today, destructive seeds today, to be bared tomorrow. We set a dangerous precedent in our country, and people are becoming more brazen, more barbaric. It's disgusting. Why? Because this lady didn't want to have a relationship with this guy? Watch, it's going to come down to that. Because of that, she deserves her house being bombed, scalped, and her child being killed. Got it. Got it. That's where we're at today. Another man, 33-year-old, has been convicted of charges related to a 2022 death of 33-year-old mother of his child, where he kills this woman, murders this woman literally in front of their 2-month-old baby. And that is not even going into the craziness that we have going on with a lot of people this day and age. Why is this all of a sudden not sitting on here right? Makes me wonder. Oh no, sorry guys. My phone popped out of my holder and I don't understand why it's doing this. It seems like it's becoming a problematic. It's like the screw went inside of it a little bit. Maybe it did. Maybe that's the problem. I don't know. Either way, yeah, it's not. It's for whatever reason, it's having a problem holding my phone, and it keeps knocking the little screwball-y thingy that holds it in place off. Huh. It's always held my phone before. Why is today different? Like literally the little knobby thingy's coming off. It's not going on. The little knobby thingy. It's stripped somehow? Am I turning it the wrong way? My screw feels like it's stripped. It's literally not. It's like the whole screw is stripped. Huh. That's problematic for me. Okay. Why isn't this thing going down? Huh. Oh, it is. Hold on a second, guys. Sorry. There we go. I think I got it. I hate when things don't work like they're supposed to. You know what I mean? Drives me nuts. There we go. That's what was wrong with it. I fixed my issue. I didn't even know there was. Oh. I don't even know what's going on here. Sorry, guys. Now I'm back. Demon activity is on the rampage because Satan knows his time is short. Jesus is coming. Hallelujah. Yeah. I tell you what, there's just definitely an undertone of just demonic everything, right? I mean, seriously, it really is. It's becoming majorly problematic. If it's stripped, put a clear nail. Oh, thank you. Didn't know that. I actually got it to work. I think what it was is my screw inside of it was not pulled all the way out, and it wasn't allowing me to screw it. But now because I couldn't understand, why is it not opening up all the way? It didn't feel like it was opening up all the way. And I thought maybe this was just a different design because this is my older tripod, handheld tripod. Phone lines not ringing. Oh, phone lines are not ringing. Why are the phone lines not ringing? Why are the phone lines not ringing? Hold on, guys. I don't know why the phone lines aren't ringing. Mom, I think you called, where was it? Hold on a second. I think, because I'm seeing a missed call on my cell phone. So you're probably calling on my cell phone and not the 724 number. So if you'd like to call into the show, there we go. Mama Bullhorn up in the house. What is shaking bacon? You got to turn me off your TV, though. You got to turn me off your TV, Ma. Can you hear me?
Hang on. I have a new TV.
Oh, okay. I thought you couldn't hear me because you're just sitting there.
No, I have a new TV, and the remote is a solar remote.
Can everybody hear Mama Bullhorn in the house? I want to make sure that we're not having any issues with the phones. I don't know what I'm doing with all these audio issues. It's driving me nuts.
Can they hear me now?
I think, yeah, everybody can hear you. They're saying they can hear you.
Okay. Let's start with Elijah. I think his mother is going to turn state's evidence against his uncle to get her charges reduced.
But if she hasn't cooperated yet, because it doesn't sound like they're cooperating at all.
Well, maybe they're waiting. I have no idea. Can Wisconsin charge them without a body? I don't know.
You know what? Let's look that up right now. Can Wisconsin charge murder without a body? It's not answering my question. Charge murder without body. Let's just do it this way, Wisconsin.
I know they have a death penalty.
Yeah, I think they can, because I think they, as long as they can prove the death happened, can you get it? Let's see. New York.
Then why in the heck is Tennessee exempt from all of this?
I don't think they are. Murder's a homicide. Is not homicide. Is an unnatural death. So I'm looking at the. How can police solve a never been found? Okay, so I don't know. It's not a clear-cut answer. I can tell you that I'm looking, and there's no clear-cut answer whether or not they can charge without a body. I'll have to do some. Not at least. I'm sure there's information out there. It's just not on a cursory review. So I don't know.
Maybe they're waiting for a grand jury. Who knows?
Maybe.
And then on the 15-year-olds, I think either the mother or the father did something, because a child does not go out, I don't care if he has autism or not, in the cold, in the middle of the night,
with a
without
flashlight,
shoes,
no shoes,
and just pajamas.
Yeah.
That's not going to happen. And somebody's guilty of something there.
Yeah.
And then on Madison, what can I say? I have suspected from day one the mother is involved. I am sorry, but I think she either hurt that girl, which resulted in her death, and she left for work not caring, and she left it to what's his name to handle it, or I just don't know. I think there's more, and they have gone back to when I watched Vinnie Politan last night, and they just released information that the abuse started when she was 8. There's pictures of, you know what, when she was 8 years old.
Yeah, but there's an interview from the father, her biological father, that even said, we were all taken by surprise from this information. So it sounds like she has a father that's involved, and he didn't even know about this stuff. So he even, begged everybody to, let the investigation, play out the way it's going to play out. Let the detectives do their job. But I'm just thinking, how can we blame mom when we have no evidence that anybody's even told her, or she was even had knowledge of it? Because it sounded like Stefan had a lot of access to this child.
I can say 8 years. Okay. Okay, baby, I'm a mother of 3 girls. Okay. There's no way in HE double toothpicks that I won't know something's happening to my child. You know that.
Mm-hmm.
And, unless she was living under a rock, and there's no amount of drugs that can wipe out your senses to the point you don't know what's going on in your own house. I mean, there's evidence left behind, if you know what I mean, that a room has been used.
Well, and that's what I was asking. Who's washing this young girl's clothes? Because I would have to think that, there would have been some evidence or some signs of some weird stuff going on just by washing her underwear.
Well, yeah. Let's not get so graphic, but yes, absolutely. I have had to be on heavy drugs in the past, and there is no way I could not know anything that happens in my house.
Well, in all fairness, I did steal your car.
Yeah, you did. Yeah, you did. But was I home?
You were. You were. Remember? Because in all fairness, you did realize the car was gone. I ended up having to go to the hospital. Trying to find a juvenile, but.
Yes,
but either way, I got the car out of the driveway. I got the car out of the garage, down the driveway, and drove around several hours before you even realized it was gone. It was just when I went to go put it back in the garage, I was like, oh, shit.
Yeah. And for you moms and dads out there, yes, I was a tough mama to handle. I used tough love when it came to Andra, and look how she turned out.
It took me 30 years. Hey, but you know, it's all about planting those good seeds, though, right? It's all about planting those good seeds. You just water them and pray over them, and pray to God that they blossom eventually. I was just the late bloomer.
I have been on my knees for 40 years, baby. Oh, yes.
Well, we love
you. You are a miracle.
Yeah.
You are a living miracle.
But you know what?
Why?
It might have been a long road, but we're here, so.
You and Angela are a miracle because you got washed in an undertow.
Yeah.
And your dad had to dive to find you. And then the second time was your spider bite.
Yeah.
That almost took your life.
Yeah. That was
28 days. I prayed.
Yeah.
Oh my God. 28 days. I prayed and prayed.
Yeah, I was a sick kid, that's for sure. 20-something-year-old. Both parents out of town, in the hospital. I was the one that drove my dad to the airport. I had his car at my house. Like everybody, it screwed up everything. So, yeah.
But anyways.
Well, it's interesting that you think mom, because I've got a lot of people in my audience that think mom should have known. Like everybody thinks mom should have known. And I'm just kind of the only lone wolf out here kind of feeling like she was duped by the same predator that hurt her daughter. And I don't know why I have such a strong, like this is like internal strong notion of that.
Well,
I'm probably wrong about it, but.
Maybe she deliberately didn't want to believe it. Maybe she's one of those moms that's an ostrich with her head in the sand, thinking if she ignores it, it'll go away.
I think she knew that there was a disagreement or some type of dislike between Stefan and her daughter, but I just don't know if she knew. I mean, I don't know. Like this was extensive. Like that affidavit was jaw-dropping. That lady that I saw give an interview, I can't believe knew all that was going on.
Okay, let me back up, okay?
Yeah.
Grady Judd is an excellent example.
Mm-hmm.
His idea is a snake is a snake, a leopard is a leopard. A snake doesn't stop slithering, and a leopard doesn't lose its spot. This man came to Florida, got a job at Disney, okay, collects Tamagotchis just so he can play with kids, with the Tamagotchis.
Right.
And then he starts a relationship with a woman with an 7, almost 8-year-old.
That's when he started abusing her. I think she was more in line with 6 when he started meeting her mom. Honestly, that's what my thoughts are. 6. I thought it was 5 or 6, but it might be as late as 6, 7. But I don't think I for whatever reason I don't think it was right then. He would have had to take time to get that child's trust.
Well, I know how my daddy and the community handled one man.
Yeah, that was back. Back, they don't realize even Mayaca City to this day. I mean, we got more law enforcement out there, but it's still,
Well, the man didn't come to any harm.
Yeah.
My daddy just organized about 8 preachers in the area, and they paid the man a visit.
But he got out there quick.
Within 2 weeks, they had moved.
Yeah. That's how it works. That's how it works for sure.
I mean it.
Yeah, so I know I'm on the unpopular viewpoint on this. I'm trusting the fact that I think he's a predator, and I think he preyed not only on Madeline, but I think his first prey was Jen. And I've been mind-effed by a person so bad that I didn't know which way was up or down. So I know there's a possibility for that to happen, and you just don't, you believe it's you believe it's all in your head, it's all in your mind, and it's not. And so I I've had an experience like that, but I've also had the experience of speaking to other survivors that never told anybody literally until they were an adult.
Yeah.
So it just makes me wonder, did she try to seek help? Because everybody assumes she has, but nobody has been able to provide one scintilla of information that supports that. And, I can't go off like, Mom. I mean, think about it, Mom. If something, God forbid, happened to me, you had no knowledge of it. You would think you would. I wouldn't want the whole world beating on your door or calling you a horrible person because something bad happened to me and you were unaware of it because I didn't tell you and you didn't see the signs of it. I don't know. It's kind of one of those weird, I guess, personal and moral issues within me that's preventing me from, if I saw a monster of a woman or I've seen a woman that had a history or something like that, then I would be so easily swayed that she would be. But this mom, you just don't have that with. It's like I'm looking at my own mother when I
maybe because she's more without a criminal history and prior cases, charges. She's not upper class, but upper middle class. People, their mindset is different. When it's, a clean cut kind of person that's working 5 nights a week with a very nice house, I don't know.
Right.
I don't know, but I am convinced.
There's a lot of people. I'd say that there's about 90% of my audience, 95% of my audience that's right along with you, without a doubt. I mean, literally, I see it in the chats. I see it. I know people totally disagree with my assessment of this, and that's okay. That's the beauty of having our own opinions about stuff, and I completely understand why people would think that the mom would know more, and I completely understand why everybody is ticked off, and one of the things that I do not have an experience with is having those internal connections with a child, because I've never given birth to a child. My child was a stepchild. My grandchildren came from that relationship. Even though I was there for 2 of my grandchildren's births, I've never had a child of my own. So I don't know what that connection is or what the senses of a mom get. So I'm absent of those experiences.
Well, I am going to get off because I see that some of the people, there's other people that want to call in. So I'm hogging the time. Yes, I am. I apologize, y'all.
Oh, no, you're not hogging the time. I don't know who said that.
I think Jules needs to call in. Okay.
All right. I love you.
I love you. Have a good day.
You too. Bye. All righty then. So, again, I don't know. She hasn't watched my email I sent her. Oh, Jules, I don't typically watch this stuff live because I don't know if it has. Yeah, I was going to watch it after the live ends because I have to watch it. I don't know what's behind it and if it's going to trigger something on my YouTube channel, where it needs to be cut or it has background music. So I can't really watch it live here right now. We can discuss it tomorrow or a later live today. But I will get back to you. I will watch it. I just can't watch it on just live. I wouldn't watch it live at all. Some is things that people. Oh, okay, that's what I was thinking. That's why I never do anything. And I've done stuff live before, where people sent me stuff and I put it up here, and then somebody else got mad because something wasn't blurred or something like that. So it's like I don't go out of my way to do stuff like that, but things like that happen. So I try to, if at all possible, try to minimize that as much as possible. These POSs are good manipulator. I think Mom and Maddie look alike. Yeah, they do look alike. Mother as competition for this piece. It very well may have been. But my thing is I believe that this mom was working an awful lot of hours is the difference, and why I think it might have been easier for whatever to be hidden from her, because I think that she was working an awful lot of hours. She was probably very exhausted when she came in. She probably checked on her child. Hey, how you doing? Normal stuff as she got ready to, get something to eat and, do her day or do her evening. And, obviously part of that is taking medication that zonks her completely and utterly out. Meanwhile, from what we're learning from grandma is the daughter doesn't sleep alone. Her granddaughter doesn't sleep alone. So it makes me wonder, is she sleeping alone with her mom, or is she sleeping in the same room with her mom and Stefan? Or is, Stefan and Jen sleeping in separate rooms, and she's saying that she is sleeping with just mom? Because there are people, I mean, like I said, me and my husband, we lived here 4.5 years, and I had my room and he had his room. And that was just how our life was, even before. It just, we functioned like business partners as opposed to husband and wife. That's why our marriage ended. I mean, I still talk to him. We still have a cordial relationship. I have no hard feelings for him. He has no hard feelings for me. I mean, it is what it is. Oh, thank you, Lulu. God bless you. Thank you. So it just, I don't know. I guess maybe part of this is just for people to see a different perspective. Maybe that's why it's so ingrained in my stomach right now to fight for her a little bit and to give her a voice. And I'm speaking of Jen, I think is because I really truly don't know, and because of the gravity of the situation, she lost her 13-year-old child. I can't imagine that kind of pain, even if she thought this guy may have been abusing her daughter. Not in this way, but just having, a hostile relationship with her daughter. I don't think she ever thought it was going to go to this level. I don't think she ever thought she was never going to see her daughter again. So I can't imagine how she's feeling. And many people are like, well, she had anything to do with it. Nobody gives a damn about her feelings. But the problem is everybody that's been giving me that information, and while I agree, I don't know what mothers sense. I would have to think that something was sensed. But and I'm not disagreeing with people that say a mom should have had an indication or some type of sense something wasn't right. I'm not disagreeing with you at all, because I know me, even not being a mom, I have senses in weird places. So I know that they exist, right? I trust my gut in a lot of the things that I do here. But just because you have a gut feeling, I don't know if when I had a gut feeling that something was off, that I knew immediately what was off. I just knew something. And so that's where I'm at. Like, I'm not disagreeing that she should have known that something was off. And maybe she very well did know something was off, but did she know it was to this degree? I don't know. This seems like nobody knew. It just, the friends didn't know. You don't have this wave of people coming out saying, she told me about this. I told so-and-so. Nobody did anything. We're not hearing any of that from the community. We're not hearing any of that outcry from her friends. We're not hearing any outcry from the teachers. We're not hearing any outcry from her family. We're not hearing any of that. Which is normally what we hear from everybody when somebody's trying to say, well, mom knew, we like 80 million people start putting under anonymous stuff, comments and text messages between them and the person showing that they knew. We're not getting any of that. You know what we're getting? We're getting people explaining their relationship. We're hearing people say, she seemed like she loved her mom, but she missed a lot of red flags when it came to Stefan identifying an issue with a firearm. We're hearing those stories, but where is this massive wave of people, providing us real information anonymously like we get in every other case? I'm willing. If anybody out there is in Kissimmee, I'm here in Florida. I give you my word. You send me stuff, your name will not be brought up. It will be completely scrubbed. I will keep you completely 100% anonymous. And if you don't believe me, go back to some of my work. When I say I keep people anonymous, I keep people anonymous. I never squeal their name. And we make it very, very difficult to find out who they are. So if you have some information that can be corroborated that this lady knew, please send it to me, because you know what? We deserve to know whether this woman deserves our sympathy or not. I don't want to give 1 ounce of sympathy that put her child in harm's way. But I need some type of corroboration, not people thinking and feeling. That's not how this thing works. That's not how evidence works. We can think and feel all day long, and I can tell you 90 times out of 100, our thinking and feeling is wrong, because we have our own biases and other things that infiltrate our mind and our thought process. Sometimes things that have happened to us make us so emotionally strong on a certain topic that we don't want to see anything else because we've had this experience. So it's, we're accustomed at this stage in the game to having an overwhelming amount of private conversations being basically funneled on social media, and we're not seeing that. They're put out anonymously, so the people can see it and weigh what they're finding, and they don't tell us who they are or why they're putting it out there. But typically it's somebody that's close to the situation, close to the people, close to the parties. But what's bringing me to all of this, I mean, you guys don't, maybe the whole thing, it's not just the fact that I think he's a predator. It's the fact that not only do I think he's a predator, but he infiltrated himself into this family. And he started abusing this child early on. That tells me that it makes me believe, not tells me, but makes me believe he targeted the family. And if I believe that he targeted the family, then I believe that he also abused Jennifer in ways of manipulation and manipulation strategy and doing a lot, especially with her being on having bipolar and other mental issues. I can find how easily it would be to manipulate her just by simply saying you're making, you're seeing something that isn't there. Go take your medication, go talk to your therapist, go do this, that, and the other. I can see where he could manipulate the situation and make her feel that she's seeing something that's not there, because predators do that. So it's one of these things where I'm trying to follow the actual information and the facts, and it's leading me in a different way, because I am trying to remove my own personal feelings from this matter and look at it analytically. And what I'm seeing here is a predator that preyed on a family. And for me to think that he preyed on one individual and not the other seems a little off base for me. So that's the first thing. The other thing is, now, if I think he preyed on the family and I believe that Maddie didn't tell anybody, what information is out there that can show that statement holds water? What would make this child fear telling somebody? Then you go over to Jen's friend, where she gave a statement talking about why her and Jen are no longer friends. And it comes back to Stefan always carrying a firearm. And then she learned that Stefan actually threatened to unalive himself in front of Jen. So that right there is a manipulation strategy to control a victim. So if he's doing this, I'm going to hurt myself if you don't believe me nonsense, he is manipulating and controlling Jennifer. But it also tells me that he has access to a firearm, a very intimidating tool. And we don't know what he's doing with this very gun when her mother is not home. So there are a lot of things that I'm evaluating in my theory as to why I believe the way I believe. It is not coming from an emotional place inside of me. It's coming from looking at all of this information and trying to put it in an order so it shows us a clear cut what happened, a timeline, if you will. And so those are the reasons why I'm not getting the sense that Jen knew things. I believe he had her distracted on other things. I believe he played into her mental illness. I believe when that wouldn't work at times, he would use threatening and other terrifying manipulation strategies to control her and to make her think that what she may have been feeling or seeing wasn't what she was truly seeing or feeling. It was made up in her head because she needs to go see her doctor or take her pill. Meanwhile, everything she was thinking and he was telling her was not existing. She just found out just the other day, not only was it true, but it took the life of her daughter. That's the way I'm looking at this. And that to me is heartbreaking. Now, should she have known things? She may have. And again, there was manipulation strategy inside this home. So that kind of makes me weary of just being solid on she knew. She may have known and had been argued into submission. I believe at this point, and again, it could be wrong. And if it is wrong, it changes my theory in my position greatly. And that was the fact that I don't believe that Maddie told anybody about the abuse she was undergoing. I don't believe she told her friends. I don't believe she told her teacher. I don't believe she told her mother. I believe she was terrified to tell anybody about what was going on, or she thought it was okay. One of the two. Because we have to remember this is a predator. He has a manipulation game. He made her being so young, 8 years old. He may have trained her that this is okay and what is normal and customary inside homes. We don't know. Maybe the reason why she didn't say anything is because she didn't know it was wrong. There are many things that could be here. But again, there are many things that it could be here. How can we identify with the information we have right now that it's one or the other? And there are so many people on the one side that I feel like it needs to be balanced by bringing this other side to the world. That there may be a real possibility, a real legitimate possibility that this lady knew absolutely nothing. There is that real possibility. And it could be probable as well. But again, we're lacking all of those details. So we are stuck with what we feel. And I'd like to feel that this mom did something to her daughter to just get along with everybody else. But I'm not seeing all of those key red flags with the mom that indicate that. And like my mom said, you know, it could have just been, we've been getting a rise in people's first crime being the most despicable crimes. We've seen multiple people that their first crime, look at Brian Koberger, never had a traffic ticket. First major crime. Well, I guess he did steal a phone. We did find out he did steal a phone. But first major crime, murder. That one guy in what was it, Massachusetts, had a beautiful home with his wife. Literally never had even a traffic ticket. And had a manhunt for him, searching for him because he killed his wife. First crime. So, I mean, it is possible. So don't think I'm not looking at that. Is it possible that she did this? It absolutely is. I'm not denying or disputing that one bit. But so many people are already on that mindset and already think that she's guilty. I just want to put in perspective some possibilities of why she wouldn't be found guilty. Because when I look at this woman, I just don't see a monster. I just don't. Everybody else does, but I don't. Maybe I'm broken. Maybe all this working and driving and traveling and court stuff and everything's just got my head so messed up. My DAR is down, right? My DAR is down. That very well maybe just me, right? Maybe it's not everybody else. Maybe it's just me, right? I don't know. I just, maybe in this whole thing, maybe subconsciously, I'm just hopeful for a better outcome. I'm saying maybe I'm just hopeful for a better outcome. This is Betty. You didn't stay on the phone. What? Did you not want to speak? You were getting the real deal here. We were getting the real deal here. The Dorman case, Dad never had a problem. There, perfect example. Until he did. This is Betty.
Hey, Betty, let me mute you on my computer. Sorry, I dropped my phone a while ago.
Oh, that's okay.
Listen, I agree with you, and here's the reason. This happened to me, and this was many, many years ago. I had just turned 17 when I told my mother. She had no idea at all. She confronted him. He admitted it. Very, very, very long story. I left home. I am way, way, way up. This happened over 50 years ago. I've mentored young girls, but that man held a gun to our head and threatened us. When I seen the mother do the interview, my first thoughts were, she's scared to death of him. As soon as he walked into the room, right behind her, you could see her tense up.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was like reliving everything. And people need to quit coming at the mother like this here. Let this one play out. I've got mixed feelings about this here, but I don't know. There's a good chance that the mother didn't know. This is just crazy.
Yeah.
I am mixed with it. I don't think the mother knew, but then again, popular opinion, and I just hated that a child was lost.
I know. That's the sad part about all of this, is that nobody could help her. And, maybe if somebody would have just, spoke to her. I feel like sometimes our schools are so focused on the stranger danger that they forget to advise the children of the dangers in their own home.
Exactly. And it happens every single day. It happens, and people talking about Jesus and the devil and stuff, and I'm to the point, I don't care who comes first, aliens or Jesus. I'm ready to get off this planet. People have lost their freaking mind.
They have.
I do everything to protect my granddaughter. I did everything to protect my daughter. I mean, my husband's the one that taught me how to shoot and be proficient. We open carry. We're ready to protect our own.
Mm-hmm.
Just no. But I do, in my heart, feel that I feel for this mother. She lost the child.
Yeah.
I think she was scared to death. Now, whether she knew or not, or whether she found out right then when it happened, and she went to putting a lot of things together. But my mother didn't know. Like I said, my stepdad, he was a mean man, and he threatened all the time with a gun, and I get it. I had just turned 17 when I told my mother. I was fed up. I had a nervous breakdown at school and told my coaches.
Mm-hmm.
And from the coaches straight to my mother, and from my mother to the Texas Rangers.
Yeah.
Wasn't playing no game. Which, did anything happen to him? No. I mean, this was 50 years ago. You couldn't prove anything back then.
Right.
So
let me ask you this: how long before you finally had your break and told your mom? How long had the abuse been occurring, or when did it start? I guess is the
when I was 11 years old, when I got my period.
Wow.
Like, that's when you're considered a woman.
Gotcha.
That's it. That was back then. That's exactly when it started. Period.
Gotcha. So you were still very young. You were a young girl. So it was still many years before you finally did let your mom know. Yeah. Because it was a constant daily threat. It was scary. Wow.
So
it just makes my heart, because no matter either way you look at this, whether she was so threatened that she didn't tell her mom and had to look at her mom every day wanting to tell her, to her mom knowing no matter how you look at it, that poor little girl just suffered.
I did everything I could. I was in every extracurricular activity, every school function, everything, to stay away from home. But you still have to come home. So until I didn't. And when everything came out, I didn't have to, in our state, you can leave home and you're considered an adult at that age. And I was back then. He couldn't force me to come back home. She couldn't, nothing. I was free. Now, don't get me wrong, it was years of counseling. And I'm good now, but man, in this day and age,
Yeah.
So yeah, I do believe that the mother didn't know. I think she found out when this happened, too late. And the mother's beating herself up right now.
Oh, the mom, that's probably why she's over at the sister's house. I don't think it would be very healthy for her to be alone right now, because even if she did have feelings and she didn't really act on them, like the red flags that we're all talking about, she's going to be beating herself up so hard. Like, why didn't I trust my gut? Why didn't I do this? The whole shoulda, woulda, coulda. And you know what? Some people believe that she should have to go through that for not knowing, or, in a lot of people's minds, they believe there's no way this lady didn't know, so they think of her as a monster.
Well, and if they've got that mindset already, nothing's going to change their mind. Nothing is going to change their mind.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And that's okay. Everybody can have their own opinion. I pray I'm right and the mother didn't know, but that's not going to change anything. Maddie's gone. I'm just very thankful I lived through it, because her case has hit me so hard. I thought I quit watching you. I quit watching a lot of people after Quentin Simon. I've just recently started watching again. This one here will make me stop watching again. It hit too close to home. This one did.
Yeah.
These kids, and we had one not far from our house, Audrey Cunningham. I mean, she's not that far from us, and that one there just tore me up. But that guy was a freaking monster.
He was a monster. He should have been in jail. They had they had an opportunity to really put him behind jail and take this monster off the streets, and they chose not to.
I think my personal opinion is going to show my age. Bring back public hangings, and when they're caught like this here, hang their ass from the tallest tree.
Showing your age. I'm 44 years old, and I've said that I don't know how many times. I got so much backlash from my channel for saying that, but you know what? I'm a little more barbaric when it comes to people getting murdered. I feel like if you take somebody out in a certain way, you should have to go out that certain way.
Yep. Well, yeah. Eye for an eye. But bring back public hangings. This will stop this shit. And these little thugs out here doing this stuff. Oh my gosh. I'm over today's society.
Today we got rotten children. That's why everybody's like, why do you have anything to do with the school board? You don't even have any children in the school system. And it's like, because I've got to deal with the assholes they create.
Yes, exactly. And I don't know what to do. Everything changed. I don't know. I can see the change starting about 25 years ago in the schools and with the laws and stuff that were put into place. And I don't know how to get them under control now, but things need to change.
Well, it's because we got social warriors instead of teachers. That's the first problem.
Yes. I've got a granddaughter that I homeschool. But in this state, a lot of that crap ain't going to go on in the schools here. But she is homeschooled, and she's homeschooled for a reason. You're not safe to go to church. You're not safe to go to school. You're not safe to go out and eat. You're not safe to go shopping. They kill you just for I'm telling you, I think sometimes they kill just for the fun of it. Wherever they want to go, nothing is sacred. Nothing is safe anymore.
We watch people on YouTube all the time try to destroy people just because they don't like them. Of course, we live in a sickening and disgusting environment right now.
Yes.
I mean, everybody wants to destroy one another. I mean, that's all they see. If they don't like somebody, they're taught to destroy.
Well, my problem at my age is when I go out in public, I won't keep my mouth shut. I'll tell it like it is.
I'll continue to do the same.
Well, I appreciate you letting me call in, and because I do agree with you. I don't think the mother knew, but that's coming from my perspective.
Yeah.
That's coming from a whole different side.
Exactly. And we're going to find out whether she did, but I to be honest with you, I'll be outraged when I find out for sure. There's just a piece in me that I just can't go scorch earth on this woman. You know, everybody knows me. When I feel passionate about something, I'll do whatever it takes. But this one is just, there's just something inside of me, a big old red stop sign. It's like, pump the brakes. And when I start feeling those gut instincts, I pump the brakes.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I appreciate it. I'm going to watch this through to the end. I don't know if I can handle another.
Well, we're closing up after your call anyway, so we're good. And God bless you for calling in and sharing your experience. I know it had to be difficult, but we do appreciate you giving us at least another perspective.
Okay, I appreciate it. Thank you.
God bless. All right, guys, that was the end of our calls. And I'm glad that we got to hear from that particular caller. And God bless that person for what they've gone through, and all the survivors of this type of crime and any type of crime. You know, we don't want our females ever being injured or ever being injured because they're a female. This type of crime is happening all too much in our society. We have created a normalcy around sex and sex objects and sex topics. You see it even infiltrating in our schools, where we're not arguing about what type of math to teach our children. We're talking about what type of sex education to teach our children. I find it appalling. I find it sickening. I think the schools need to stay out of the topic in general. But in a case like this, the double-edged sword is, you know, if the sex education, why wasn't Maddie comfortable enough to talk to people? And at the age of 13, how did she not know the differences between good touch and bad touch? And why wasn't there any type of school function that gave her a way to reach out to a counselor or somebody else if she was experiencing this abuse? Let's not forget, our children are being taught at very young ages about sexual identity, but not abuse. We need to get back to educating our children. We need to get back to talking. When we talk about any type of topics related to sexual orientation or anything like that, it's very clinical. We talk about sexual organs, and we talk about good touch and bad touch. Any of the other bullshit that the schools want to bring in to confuse our children needs to be out. I don't know why this happened in a Florida school system. With all of the resources that we fight for here in our state, I know a lot of people, this is just sad, and it makes me wonder. I'm not trying to put the blame. If mom is responsible, she needs to be held accountable. I will never say anything other than that. But I also have to think that this child was 13 years old. This child has already gone through some type of sexual education in the state of Florida. How is this child not open or comfortable enough to be able to speak to our teachers in the environment that we have currently? Those are questions that I have, unrelated to the parents or the other family members and friends in this girl's life, just the school and the school alone, which had this child a lot of the time. So why wasn't there a safe space for this child to go speak to somebody? We need to ask those questions. Not that the school has done anything wrong. I want to make sure that that's clarified. I don't think anybody ever anticipates something like this happening with one of their students, but in today's society, we have to start thinking that this is happening a lot more than we would like to acknowledge or believe. This was in Florida. we have another case in Utah of a mom and a stepfather willfully engaging. So much so that the child had to run away from home to get help. It's upsetting. Not only that, the scars and the trauma that these children will have to live through in the adult years, knowing that this happened to them by a family person or somebody that was in a parental figure, the kind of mental anguish that child has to carry on with them into perpetuity, that those types of crimes cause people to want to, they want, literally to escape. And how do they escape? Substances and alcohol. So now these people are being bred to be addicts and alcoholics and all of the problems that come along with that. All because of this sick and twisted activity that happened that this child was not at fault at, that was perpetrated upon this child by somebody they trusted and loved. It's horrific. Yes, Jules, that Utah case is horrific. And I wish Utah had laws like we do. I also found out Missouri, I think it's Missouri. Missouri is getting a law like Florida. It's going to be a death penalty, a capital case for certain crimes against children. And that's the way it should be in every state. Our children aren't for sale. Our children aren't slabs of meat. They're our children. They're our future. They're our next generation. And I don't want our children all abused and effed up by the time they have to get in the positions that they need to get in to run this country, to take the next generation on in this crazy world. Anyways, guys, thanks for being here with me. God bless each and every one of you. Hold your family close. This is the time. Look at all these beautiful faces on my screens. All too young to be gone. All entirely too young to be gone. Leela Santanello, entirely too young. Holland Snap. YouTube, we need to start pushing for any information in the Holland Snap case. I'm going to be working on trying to pull some information on that case. And as a matter of fact, before we do go out, let me go ahead and put something up on the screen here. Give me just a second. Give me just a second. I think it's, where is it? I think it's this one right here. Yes, this is the one. We'll take about 7 or 8 minutes to hear about, hopefully you guys can hear it. It's a toss of the coin whether you're going to hear this or not. So we'll do our best, okay? We'll do our best. Let me take the phones off. Don't forget to hit the thumbs up button on your way out, guys. We're trying to build up both channels and trying to make them hit the algorithm after being falsely chained. Give me a second. Okay, hopefully this is... Okay.
Hey, friends.
Okay. All right, I think we got it. If you guys can't hear it, I'll be right back. Let me know immediately if you guys do not hear her.
I am just hopping on here to give you all somewhat of an update. It's not a massive update or anything, but a few weeks ago I had done an interview with, I can't remember if it was News Channel 5, I believe, Kylie Hill, and may have been 11 now, I don't remember, but anyway.
Okay, thank you.
I have been speaking what I spoke during that interview to different people, and they're like, wait up, hold a minute, we didn't know that information. So I guess that, I understand wholeheartedly people do not watch the news anymore. People do not get their news from the news. So people get it more from social media now, and, all the realms and everything that is involved with that. So my first and foremost thing in doing this is, if you know anyone, any YouTubers, anybody who's big on Reels, anybody who's big on Instagram, please, please, please reach out to them and ask them to do a story about Holland Snap missing in Kingsport, Tennessee. If you know somebody who knows somebody, ask them to please do a story. Like, we need to get this out even more than it's been out before. That's my first thing. Begging, 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 please, if you know anybody, please let's do that. I'm happy to do interviews. A lot of times Heather cannot, for different reasons, do interviews, but I am more than happy and willing to hop on here and talk through this with anybody who is willing to do that for me. I'm begging on Holland's behalf. So the other part of this is, whenever I did this news interview, whatever, everybody since like, what I didn't know about this. But I spoke very candidly about it in the interview, so I just want to put it out here to you all. On or about, we believe, October 9th, Holland was viciously assaulted by a man in his 50s who resides in a home on Bell Ridge in Kingsport, Tennessee. I will not say that he resides there now. However, that is his place of residency. So, he is 51 years old. He is absolutely 2, if not 3 or 4 times the weight of Holland. I would say 4 times the weight of Holland. And we know that she was not well after this beating occurred. So that is has been corroborated, I guess, by 2 eyewitnesses to what happened. And since then, there have been probably, if I had to guess, I guess I should have thought of that sooner off the top of my head, 7 people who saw Holland up until the 16th of October. Those 7 people refused to talk. You would think after 4 months, somebody would snitch, somebody would get mad, somebody would get high, somebody would be willing to talk. But that has not happened yet. And there's so many other things I could say about that, but I'm biting my tongue. So I need anyone and everyone from the Tri-Cities area, from the Kingsport area specifically. If you live in Kingsport, if you used to reside in Kingsport, if you know someone who resides in Kingsport, if you have friends in Kingsport, if you have family in Kingsport, share this out. It has got to get out. We have got to get this aware of, we've got to get Kingsport aware of what happened and aware that this man viciously beat Holland.
So I'm just stopping it right there just for a second, because, you know, she's asking for anybody with help. I know we have a lot of people from the Tennessee area that watch this show either on replay or live. You know, share the story. One thing that we find out more times than not when we go into these communities and put our boots on the ground, people on the next street over don't even know that there's somebody missing, don't even know that a murder occurred, don't even know an abduction happened, are completely clueless. And so if you guys are clueless about Holland Snap's case, she has not been found. She disappeared about 3 months after Leela Santanello. It's not connected any way, shape, or form with the Leela Santanello case. However, it needs just as much attention because this young child, she's still a child. She had the mind of a 15-year-old girl, even though maybe younger than that, 9. She wasn't, she had some disabilities. So she was childlike, and she was physically childlike. She was 4'10" and like maybe 90 pounds soaking wet. Tiny, tiny girl. Okay, tiny girl. And we're hearing that she was abused by a much older man viciously. So it's not looking good. So anybody that has any information or knows who these people are, now's the time to start leaking that information. If you do not want to go to law enforcement because you haven't in all these months, reach out to Bullhorn Betty at bullhornbetty@gmail.com. If you don't trust me, set up a separate email. Funnel some information. If you'd like to talk to me, I'll keep you confidential. I just want to make sure that if there's information out there that could lead to the whereabouts of where Holland may be, we would like to help this family out as much as possible. Or you can reach out to Leslie directly and give her the lead. Or if you're more confident, reach out to law enforcement and provide a lead anonymously. And you can do that through 1-800-TBI-FIND. 1-800-TBI-FIND allows you to provide any type of lead anonymously. So please just get the leads rolling in. This mother is crying and begging for the community's help. If there's other creators that are larger than this platform here, please run her case. This is a family that does need help. This is a mom that's begging to find her daughter. There's a lot of stories that explain kind of Holland's past. Leslie's obviously not her biological mother, but she's still her mom and one of her moms. So it is just a situation that we just need to help out as much as possible. So God bless anybody willing to help out. And God bless this family. And let's say a prayer for Holland and her family and friends that are missing her right now. All right, guys, that's the end of the show. Have an amazing day. And God bless each and every one of you. And don't forget to hit that like on your way out. I love you bunches. See you soon. Don't forget, sub up to all the channels, because later today I'll be live on the main channel. And later today I'll be live on this channel. Not for too long. It's not going to be a 2-hour live. They're usually just a few moments talking about a case, talking about some new information that I updated. You don't want to miss them. So sub up to both accounts. Love you. Bye.
As you wake up in the morning, you want to find the latest, greatest information about criminal cases and have an intuitive conversation about the suspects associated with these cases. Head over to the Bullhorn Betty channel on YouTube. Get breaking news right here on the Bullhorn Betty channel. Welcome to the Bullhorn Betty Coffee Club. Enjoy your stay and enjoy your day.